Apex Online Racing is sponsored by Elgato, who created this lovely Stream Deck. For more information about the Stream Deck, the link is in the description below.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, mothers, fathers, daughters, sons, brothers and sisters. This is the Apex Online Racing iRacing GTE League Season number 10, Round number 7, here at Sonoma. My name is King-Kodiak and I'll be one of your commentators throughout this evening's race. Joining me in the commentary box, always happy to say, returning to my side, is the graphics god himself, Mr. Nick Domino.
Hello, thank you for having me.
A great pleasure as always, and the one and only Mr. James Clay.
Hello everyone, good to be back.
Right then, let's see who's representing our AM category as they are now out on track, starting their first start of the round laps for their qualifying session. We have the 382 Ford from V3, that is Stefan Kamke. We have got the 375 Hyperion Racing at TBA BMW of Jamie Smith. 318 is the Hyperion Racing Blood Orange Porsche of Cohen Van Eyck. 328 is the Raptor Racing Team Red BMW of Daniele Mamano. 307 is the Team Cruising Missiles BMW of Michael Pari. 396 is the Privateer Entry Ferrari. A Ferrari! We have a Ferrari on the field!
They do exist. I mean, we'll have to talk about the recent balance performance changes in a bit.
Welcome to you. Welcome back. This is a Raphael Bonatti. 370, the Raptor Racing Team Yellow BMW of Alessandro Pontecorvi, and 377 is the... Oh, that's one of the blood orange Porsches going for a bit of a wander. That's Cohen Van Eyck. And the 377 Team Cruising Missiles BMW of Raimo Cooley. Right, balance of power then, Mr. Clay. Go.
The official note is that the drag on the Ford GTE has been increased. Don't know how much, just it has been increased. And what that's kind of meant is that here is kind of a Ford track slightly, so it has not really done much for that. But in the coming rounds, so Canada, Le Mans and Silverstone, we might not be saying the Ford is the likely favourite. And it might actually have it so that different cars are faster at different tracks. I know it's a revelation, but it might actually happen for one. So yeah, this week we are still expecting the Ford to be quite fast because of if we've been watching around the track, you can see there's a lot of elevation change going on, and the Ford has, especially this season, has been very good in things like that. So Radion at Spa is one of them that a lot of the drivers were noticing that the Ford seemed to keep its speed up the elevation changes a lot more. So at the start of the lap here, turns 1 and 2, where you're going very fast up a massive incline, it's very beneficial to be in a Ford. And that's sort of where it gets its time advantage around it.
I mean, that is pretty much a ski jump.
It's always something to behold at the start of a race.
It is quite a monstrous incline. What are your thoughts towards this track, Mr. Domino?
Well, it's a track that I've only raced, really a little bit on. It's not really a track that is that much used, but it's really difficult because it goes up and down. You're in a roller coaster.
Oh yes.
When they built the track, they were like, oh, there's a hill or a mountain here, let's go up it. Yeah. And it's just it's a bit weird. It has like an ebb and flow to it, so it's nice once you get in there, but yeah, it's not really a track that a lot of the drivers are familiar with.
We do have a bit of a smaller grid this time for that very reason. 30 drivers, still plenty enough to be having a good old chinwag about. As Nick says, this track is tricky, and as we're looking at Jamie Smith, it gets really narrow in some places. Not that you want to be overtaking in the really, really narrow parts, but again, if we go on board, that's how narrow it is. That getting two cars side by side, irrespective of what you're trying to get side by side, is going to be really tricky. Coming down this part, turn 6, that is a really awkward camber. It's really inconsistent, and expect to see some people flying off into the dust down there. But there's a number of apexes that are really blind, such as there, turn 7 is a very awkward apex to get right. Now the corner numbers are really bizarre in this circuit. We've mentioned that some of the American circuits have odd corner numberings going on. This is certainly one of them. We have a 3 and a 3A, a 7 and a 7A, and an 8A, which is where Jamie Smith now is. So
what you're telling me is I need to go get a track map up.
Well, it's up to you.
well, the only way to really describe, the way that they're naming it is that it is just the American way of corner names. It's just,
wow. Raphael Bonatti in the Ferrari. Bearing in mind that the Ferrari has been the disfavored child of the GTE collection for several seasons now, hasn't it?
Well, I think it's like the Ford. It will handle these elevation changes very well. It was always the car that you'd want over high curbs. There aren't many of those here. There are a couple, but I think that sort of suspension obviously would help you over the inclinations, and that's clearly probably what's helping Raphael around here. I haven't seen too many Ferraris around this circuit. There were a lot more in a break week a couple of weeks ago at Interlagos, and I expect to see them maybe at Canada and Le Mans do quite well later in the season, because the Ferrari's been quite good on the straights before. But it's quite a shock, honestly, to see it up in front. Maybe just because nobody drove it, we didn't realise how amazing it was.
Well, it was six. It might be it. Yeah, it was 6 tenths ahead. It's now, as Pontecorvi's put in his personal best of 127.105, it's now just 2 and a bit tenths ahead. Go on.
Bonatti's lap there has just been completely ruined because there was a BMW that had spun in front of him.
Oh dear! Ooh!
Coming out of the final corner.
Ow! That was quite a shunt. Not sure who. Are they still there?
Michael Parry.
Miko. Yeah, it was. The cruising Mrs. BMW. He's opted to remain in the pits as there was only a minute left. You can hear. We go to the blimp cam. That's the wrong side of the pit wall to be any use to us. The Pro-Ams are going to start to get fidgety soon.
I've just seen what happened to Parry on the inside of that final hairpin. I guess it's actually the penultimate corner. There are a lot of tyre, not really barriers, just like stacks of tyres on the inside, and you're trying to obviously tap the corner as much as possible to get the shortest line through there, and it's just not a tyre barrier, and that's one of the many difficult areas around this track. I'm sure we'll talk about more of them as we come across them, and you just see a lot of mistakes today. I would imagine just due to the nature of the difficult track.
Absolutely, and it being a less used track, it doesn't have that air of familiarity we've mentioned before, such as your Monzas, your Silverstones, your Spas, and is that Pontecorvi Park? Yep, that's Alessandro Pontecorvi literally parked on the racing line as someone who there was Ryan Cooley who just finished, admittedly. Sorry. And okay, you shall not pass was the line that gets put in there. Here comes Stefan Kamke in the Ford around that dreaded. I mean, that pretty much mines those tyre walls. If you hit them, you will stop.
You'll either spin or stop, or both.
Or both, indeed. And away go the Pro-Ams.
Yeah.
Away go the Pro-Am. Stefan Kamke, I don't think improved on that one. Jamie Smith is still out there. He's just coming through that final bend. Let's see. Up to third for the 375 car. Does he improve? He does indeed. Up to second with a 26.957. Let's see then who we've got in our Pro-Am contingent. 241, the Hyperion Racing Blood Orange Porsche of Marvin Sliman. 202 is the Raptor Racing Team Orange Ford of Michael Mariani. 294 is the Privateer Ford of Alexis Boucher. 276, the Team Tepper Turn BMW of Philip Schiff, who was really exercising his reverse gear in the practice session. 232 is the Team Tepper Masterplan BMW of Tom Hooper. 200 is the Team AOR Ford of Sarah Dove. 214 is the Team Dingo BMW of Andreas Lutus. 245 is the Raptor Racing Team Yellow BMW of Stephen Brumfield. 293, the Evergreening Ford, is the Hyperion Racing White Ford of Chris Yardley. 226 is the Team Tepper Masterplan Ford of Alex Schmidt. 242 is the Team Tepper Weerboar Ford of Rick Van Dorn. And 204 is the Hyperion Racing White Ford of Victor Matias. Right. Anyone we are particularly keeping an eye on for top honours, do we think?
In the practice session, Rick Van Dorn and Sarah Dove I saw were being very quick. I mean, Rick was miles ahead of Sarah, but Sarah was still in and around at the end of the pro field, so she and Rick Van Dorn should be putting on a strong showing. Behind them, you've got quite a close battle between Brumfield, Schmidt, Lutus, Hooper around there, and also I think Hooper is the one that is currently trying to chase down Rick at the top of the Pro-Am Championship, but Rick has quite a big advantage, if I can remember correctly. He did miss last week, but I still think it didn't put too much of a dent in his lead.
No, it's still 31 points between Van Dorn and Hooper, but Sarah's only 6 points after Hooper, so she needs a good race here, and she will be the first one out at the moment.
Excellent stuff. Now, a few announcements were made over the weekend. One of them was by myself, as this is likely to be my final GTE season. I joined the crew at season 4, and this is due to time constraints and family time demanding more of my time, hence the time constraint. It is likely to be my final GTE season. It's a bit of a shame. It's going to take some time for Mr. Domino to forgive me on that one.
Oh, definitely. I do not accept it at the moment.
I haven't got his permission, he reminded me.
No, you haven't. I haven't given you permission, so it's not official.
I see. Sarah Duff, that was close.
Sarah's just also, I have to cut off the emotional moment, I'm afraid, because Sarah had quite a big incident coming up 2 and 3.
Yeah, didn't she just?
Yeah, got way out of shape.
Oops.
Luckily didn't hit anyone as she rejoined, but now she just needs to kind of stay out of people's way. She's slowing on the race, on the race, as everyone's doing that fast.
Wow, as we switched to the rear chase cam to see how close that was. That was very, very close indeed. Mr. Clay, do you want to announce what you mentioned to us in the practice session, or are you going to keep that one to yourself?
Well, just what they're alluding to is the fact that I will be an adult tomorrow. I will be turning 18 years of age. So, yeah, this is sort of my last day as a child, and hopefully people will put on a good show. It's good to be here. Spend my final few hours not as an adult, watching pretend race cars go around in pretend circles.
What better way to spend your time?
Kids these days, they grow up so fast.
For the record, I am a parent, Nick is a teacher. We have the authority to make such comments.
Oh, yeah.
As Rick Van Dorn has just got to the top of the tree with a 26.736. Now, my board is telling me that Rafael Bonatti, his previous lap, which I'm assuming was invalid, was a 25.1. That seems rather quick.
I feel like that's a shortcut somewhere.
That seems a tad extreme.
The top of our pro field with 3/10 off that in the practice session. So I'm going to go with unlikely, considering the fact that his tyres probably still won't even be completely up to temperature, because they're just going to keep trundling around getting temperature. They're going to do a lot of laps in this session because the track is quite short, only 4 kilometers long, give or take. So that's incredibly tiny. Even on the Formula 1 calendar, you only get one track shorter than that. And that is the Monaco Grand Prix. But every other track on that calendar is longer than this, just to put it into perspective.
Oh, Formula 1 here would be mental.
Well, IndyCar does this track in about a minute. So F1 will do it in about 50 seconds.
NASCAR come here, didn't they?
I don't know. I haven't.
Either do or did.
I believe that they have been. Yeah,
they have in the past, and that. Yeah. I mean, you know how big NASCAR fields are. As Alex Smith has just topped the tree with a 26.547. 32,000s. Never mind. Rick Van Dorn has done it again. So Rick Van Dorn was dethroned. He's just returned the Weirboar Ford ahead of the Master Plan Ford to the top of the tree for
Mariani's
Team
about to
Tepper.
cross the line. He was previously on provisional pole, but does
He's done it again.
to go on to pole again.
Oh, Raptor and Tepper fighting for top honours in the Pro-Ams. Very nice. 26.374 for Michael Mariani. That pushes...
Michael didn't attend last week, but he was promoted before Mid-Ohio. So this is his first race in the Pro-Am field, and he's already looking very quick.
Just a bit. Yeah, he was rather showing his pace very, very well in the AM field. Alexis Boucher is just crossed the line, 28.2. Not too shabby whatsoever. Who should we pick up? Rick Van Dorn.
Sarah's almost, halfway through the, more than halfway through her lap, and
Yep.
it does look fine, but turn 2 still seems to be her weak spot. She locked up and just missed it a bit. But it's so blind because it's so steep, so you can't see the apex or anything else but just blue sky.
Yeah, I mean, because you are pretty much on a rocket launch pad.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You are facing the sky, and the apex is very, very blind. We'll ride actually on board with Sarah, so you can see what we're talking about in the cockpit cam. She crosses over the line. That's a 26.5. Was it valid? It wasn't. He puts her into fourth. Oh, she would pull over, but you can just see that camera doesn't tell you how steep the climb is, but it shows you how blind the apex is. It is throw it and hope.
Coming up there. Victor Matthias is coming up there now. Let's see if he. No, he stopped his car as well.
Stephen Brumfield is going to go up there and has actually gone through the apex.
We've missed him, unfortunately. But there's turn 2. Sorry, that's turn 3, and that's equally as blind. But you're just going through the corners a bit quicker as the pros are now released from their slumber. Let's see who we've got. 103 is the Venom Motorsports BMW of John Halliwell. 111, the Comrade Gaming Black Porsche of Alex Bennett. 185 is the Tag Racing UK Ford of Andy Gorton. 168 is the Team Tepper Ford of James Pitsker. 152 is the Team Tepper Ranch BMW of Alfie Lawrenson. 121 is the Team Tepper BMW Michael Edens that's just binned it. We'll come to him in a minute. There's the Team Tepper BMW of Raina Talvar, who I believe was top of the practice on times to the thousandths, but I've missed who it was with. Was it Neumeier?
Gordon was just P2 last I saw, at least.
Well, as the practice session ended...
Gordon finished first on a 25.45. Then Raina Talvar was on a 4.93, and Martin Nadelic was on a 4.94.
Okay, yeah. So it was Nadelic who I was thinking of. So then the 106 Team Shazoo Ford of Michael Neumeier. 188 is the Comrade Gaming Solo BMW of Martin Nadelic. 173, the Exploring BMW for Venom Motorsports of Michael Edens. And finally, the 109 Comrade Gaming Black Porsche of Christoph Holstein. Wow, you really saw that Porsche sliding quite well into the beginning part of the lap. So here, if we ride on board with James, that's how blind that apex is. You can't see the apex marker until well after your braking point. So if you get that approach wrong, you're off into space.
Yeah, it's really not easy, and you really need to know the track to get a corner like that correct, and these drivers really don't know that. I think I've driven this in a old Gran Turismo game, and you had to do the race in the nighttime. It was just
nice,
horrific. You couldn't see anything.
You want to put snow in there as well, just to make it more difficult?
No. Well, then you need the skis on. Skis. I need skis.
We are in California. I don't think snow exists.
No, yeah, indeed. But I've driven this in Project Cars too, and it is a hellishly hard track.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not one I've driven too much. I've watched it in the IndyCar series. Many championship deciders have been here. So you've seen drivers on the limit, you know, pushing for everything because the championship's on the line. And I mean, the last time IndyCar went here was 2018, and there was a championship decider going on, and quite literally you could see the pressure boiling over as someone on the start had made a mistake because it gets so narrow on that start-finish straight, walls either side, ran into the back of somebody, and it's just that it just epitomizes everything about this track. It's just how difficult it is because there are so many places to make mistakes. Like, you'd think the start-finish straight would be fairly easy, but it's so crowded around there that before you even get to the tricky blind turn 2, and then all the blind corners after that, the long corners at sort of 5 and 6, and it's just there's danger everywhere basically.
I've seen in a NASCAR kind of crash compilation video someone on top of the tyre wall on the pit lane entry. It went that badly wrong, but again, it's very narrow, and NASCARs are, well, they're not small.
No, it's the same with these cars. They obviously are very wide. I was talking about Indy cars, and they're fairly narrow, fairly nimble. These are quite the opposite. A GTE car, I don't think has ever been here. I don't think the class existed. It's the last time an IMSA race came here, and so I think there are GT3s that go around here sometimes. So that's about the closest you'll get. But I think iRacing is sort of the pioneer for taking GTE cars around.
And Holstein is the first one into the 25s. A 25.868 for the Porsche. Rick Van Dorn did get a 26 flat to secure the top of the programs, and of course Andy Gorton in the Ford has gone and beaten it by half a tenth for 125.820.
Holstein, the only non-Ford in the top 6. So, like I said, although the Ford has had a nerf, it is still very much a favourite around this track. But don't worry, we might actually see a non-Ford driver having the advantage next time out when we go to, I believe, Silverstone. I think it's Silverstone next.
Yeah.
Which version of Silverstone are we running?
It should be the modern version.
Yeah. The Grand Prix version.
Michael Edens crosses the line with a 26.7. Only less than 3 seconds is the entire field as well. That's also worth noting.
It's also, you know, as James alluded to earlier, it's not a long track, so, you know, you tend to see not the gap being the biggest. But it's interesting.
It's 2 seconds in the top 28, so it's kind of only those last 2 times that have kind of trailed off, so still very close.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to see James in a P5. You know, you really don't want Andy Gordon to be too far ahead of him, as he has a gap of only 23 points. So, you know, he can't really afford to lose too much time in the championship there.
God blimey, that pole is changing. Every car that comes past it was Holstein. Then Nadley back to Andy Gorton. And Pinska's improved as well. He's now on a 25.820. The pole time now at 25.608. No, never mind. Never mind.
Very briefly, but
it was.
Everyone wants to snatch that pole. No, they don't care about the championship fight that's going on. They all want it for themselves. I'm sure James and Gorton would both like it if they could get that extra bonus point for pole position, but they're going to have to work for it.
Oh yeah, they're going to have to work for it. And what's this track like for tyre management and things like that? Because I can't imagine. I was going to say I can't imagine this is easy to keep your tyre temps under control.
Well, Rainer Tarvar was telling me that if he continues his tyre wear like he was in practice, he is going to finish on -1%.
Oh, well done. As Michael Edens did exactly what Sarah Dove did during the Pro-Am qualifying. This just proves how easy it is to wander just that tiny bit too wide of the exit of turn 2.
Rainer Talva and Neumeier. Let's see whether Holstein just crossed the finish line. P4.
P4 for the Porsche.
Andy Gorton.
Yeah.
Pinska comes across the line. What does he set? It's a 25.648 that does not see him move up any position.
Improvement in time but not position. Look at that, the top 6 are 1.5 tenths apart, and then it's 3.5 tenths back to Rick Van Dorn. My goodness me.
Track position, I think. and they're working hard for it. It's not an easy track to overtake around here. You do have to send it properly. So someone really needs to make a mistake, or you have to hope that they don't turn in, which is never really the option you want to have to resort to. And that's why track position is going to be so important. And this close qualifying is going to make such a difference to the result of this race.
Alex Bennett has binned it up at turn 4, top of turn 4 in the Porsche, so he's back to the pits. Only 4 cars still on track: Pinsker, Lawrenson, Talvar and Neumeier. So even Rainer Talvar, with the pole time with a 25.502 by a tenth, is still not resting on his laurels. Who's closest to the line? Lawrenson? I think it's Alfie Lawrenson.
Pinsker's coming up to the penultimate corner.
Yeah,
Oh, it's Pinsker.
In front of Lawrenson, so,
Beg your pardon. So there's more cone death going on.
You'll see that throughout the race. They'll kill those points going into the penultimate corner.
And iRacing have, the greatest
They do.
workers.
Pinsker going for the shortest line to come across the start.
Improvement again in time, but not position. 125.648 is the best he was able to manage to do.
No, that was the exact same time as he did last
Was
lap.
it? Wow, that's consistent.
I was so confused because iRacing was like, his last lap is a 6.48, and I was like, yes, I know that. What was his new lap? It's like the same.
Well. And Talvar increased on his pole time. He did a 2:27.
The position did not.
Wow. That is absolutely unreal. Rainer Talvar is going to be the pole man. Well, that's everybody basically done. Michael Neumeier is the only car out there. He's going to park his car up there. He goes. Right then, so the grid is going to look like so. It is Tepper and Shazoo on the front row. Rainer Talvar and Michael Neumeier take the front 2 spots. Then it is Gorton, Nadelig, Holstein, Pinsker, Van Dorn taking the Pro-Am pole. Halliwell, Bennett, Lawrenson, Edens, Mariani, Schmidt, Dove, Sluman, Lutus, Brumfield, Hooper, Bernardi in the Ferrari with that AM pole. He hung on to that one. Nicely done. Smith, Pontecorvi, Yardley, Matios, Schiff, Mamano, Cooley, Pari, Van Eyck, Boucher and Kamke is our grid for today. Ooh, now then.
Interesting. The top 3 is the same top 3 we had on the grid last time out, but all in a different order. They all start in a different position to they did last week. But we do, if we remember, those 3 kind of pulled away a lot from the rest of the pack. And you can see in qualifying that there's a big gap between Neumeier and Gorton between 2nd and 3rd, so they could have the possibility to see only a 2-car train pull away. Maybe Gorton will stick with them. Nadelig is looking very strong this week. And that's the sort of unknown variable even here, is that will we see pulling away? Will there be trains? Because there's not going to be much overtaking. It could turn into a tyre wear saving race because, like I said, people like Talvar were talking about having literally no tyres left at the end of the race. I mean, I don't expect there to be a one-stop, but that's what we said last week, and then it all happened, so I don't really want to ever say that ever again.
Yeah, but Talvar's in a Ford. That's the thing. I mean, the Ford is supposed to be the one kindest on its tyres, and Rainer Talvar in a Ford is the one.
in a BMW.
Oh, is he? I thought Rainer was in the.
He
beg your pardon.
Last season.
Beg your pardon. Yes, he's in a BMW. So nothing is said and done, though, is it? Because and that's the thing. That's also the thing with this track is one mistake tends to be very, very costly. I know we tend to say that a lot, but it is very, it's very specific. We saw someone hitting the concrete tire wall that surrounds the inside, that braces the inside line of that final turn. You hit that, and that's going to pretty much ruin your car. You can see from the aerial shot here how close the barriers are down the start-finish straight. Now, that turn at the top there, which is turn 12, is flat out, but if you're side by side with someone or you need to make a sudden correction, the barriers aren't going to care. They will hit you and they will bite. We're going to have I just realised we're going to have a full lap around the safety car. It's been a while since we've had one of them.
Well, we've had a lot this season. We've gone to a lot of tracks to have all for me.
Well, I thought most of them have been just the single.
We've had Sebring, Watkins Glen, Road America, and now here. Which, considering how many tracks actually have this full formation, we've not done a bad job. I think the only ones we're missing are like maybe Road Atlanta.
Yeah.
We have lost
the old American tracks.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that have this whole.
Yeah, it was this and the old Silverstone, but we won't be going to the old Silverstone. We'll be going to the new Silverstone, so we won't get that next week. We would have, otherwise we would have had a 50% hit rate on full formation.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. We've lost Philip Schiff, unfortunately.
He has connected, so he might just get in time to make a pit lane start.
We will see.
However, he has been having disconnection issues. He disconnected in qualifying as well, and it's just disconnected again.
Oh,
so
dear.
whether he'll make it if he does start is well, it's unlikely that he might make it to the end. His internet will probably fail on him again if that does happen, which is unfortunate.
Oh, that Ford sounds even worse at slow speeds.
No, it sounds amazing at slow speed.
No!
Have you not heard the new gearbox compressor noise? You cannot hear that new noise and then tell me it sounds good.
That sounds that sounds like what I would imagine the inside of a washing machine to sound like. That sounds horrid. I'm sorry.
The compressor noise has been slightly turned down in the newest patch. So although they made the Ford slower, they made it more appealing by getting rid of that noise slightly.
But I mean, let's not forget the fact it's still damn quick. It's going to be a pretty good race for the Fords nonetheless. But look at this: BMW, Ford, BMW, Porsche in the top 5. And it looks like Holstein is ready and raring to get on with it as they reform the 2x2 line. There's Neumeier. Where is he? There he is. The grid's not been quite formed right as we have one BMW just sat in the front.
Neumeier is he's very tentative to pulling alongside Talbot.
He is a bit, isn't he? I wonder why.
Massive gap as well because the pace car's got to go into the pit lane.
Oh,
and
here we go.
Talbot launches it from before the final corner.
That's caught, I would say. Oh no, that's caught the Shizou Ford out because there's been a nudge. Yeah, but someone's not happy about that. But
that was Nadleek that was flashing his headlights heavily.
But Philip Schiff has been able to reconnect according to my list. So all 30 drivers with us. Let's get on. Pardon?
We had a spin on turn 1.
Sluman. Oh, that's a big hit. That's Yardley's down there involved somewhere. Tom Hooper. Yeah, it's Tom Hooper has had a crack to the face. Oh dear, oh dear.
Contender. Let's not forget, the current person who is currently P2 is Tom Hooper.
Yeah, he's now.
An impressive save from the Porsche, which I believe was Sluman, but just caught everybody out. One thing the start also caught out was Rick Van Doorn. He's dropped down from starting 7th down to 10th, I want to say at the moment. Yeah, it's 10th position, maybe 9th.
9th. You're trying to count off the top of your head, aren't you? He's 9th at the moment.
Yeah. He just got very out of line. Bit odd because he was on Rayner's side. I was expecting him on Neumeier's side of the grid to get very caught out because he was well behind Talbot when he bolted. But unlucky there for Rick, and they'll just try and filter and get settled. This is very much a rhythm-based track rather than anything else, and so you just want to get on your own. And actually that is Mariani sending it on Van Doorn into the final corner up the inside, and I think he's got the move done as they go on to the next lap.
Wow, the Raptor Ford just ying that one on the inside of the Tepper on the Tepper Wheelboard Ford, and it was a good thing that he was seen because that could have gone horribly wrong. Rick Van Doorn very observant to see the Ford coming. Philip Schiff has joined us. There he is. He's a long way off the back of the field, but he has managed to rejoin in the Tepper turn BMW. Let's see how he does. He's 11.3 seconds off the back of Alexis Boucher as Matthias has just lost a spot to Daniele Mamano. That's impressive at that particular point in the circuit. But now the rhythms are starting to be established. Talvar still leads Neumeier, Gorton, Pinsker, Nadleek. Is the BMW having a look at the inside of the Ford coming up to turn 7. Can be done, but not able to this time around. Oh no! Philip Schiff has already. Oh no, he's binned it. That's up at turn 4. Oh, he just touched onto the grass. Car got a little bit loose. And round he went, pushing a bit too hard to try and catch the back of the pack. Oh dear, his day going from bad to disastrous. So the entire field is bookended by Tepper BMWs.
An update from the back of the AMP field. James Smith is at the moment leading the AMP field. That little incident that at the beginning caught out our pole Ferrari, Rafael Bonatti, who hit Hooper, unfortunately. He has lost 3 positions and is now in P4. So the top 3 is James Smith, Pontecorvi, and Ramakuli.
Indeed it is for the AMs. The Pro-Ams being led currently by Michael Mariani. In 9th place there is Rick Van Dorn. We saw that move from the Raptor Ford for Mariani to take the Pro-Am lead. 3rd place is Sarah Dove. A few cars in between, or 2 cars in between herself and the next of her class, Alex Bennett and Mike Leedens directly ahead. The lead starting to break apart a little bit, it would seem, as about 8/10 separates Talvar and... I haven't turned the full race interface on. There we go, that's a bit better. So about a second separates Talvar and Neumeier. It is a second between Neumeier and Gorton. Is this just playing the conservation game early on, do you think? Or are they actually pushing like hell with a heavy car?
I'm trying to look at the lap times. The lap times look fairly quick, so I would say that a lot of them are just trying to sort of push. You don't tend to start saving until about now, I would say, about like sort of lap 3, because if you start saving from the second race...
Ooh, Andreas Lutus on the inside of Alex Smith! Goodness me! Oh, Tom Hooper! Tom Hooper, was that who you oohed at just now? Oh! Was that the one you spotted just now, Nick?
No, I saw Pontecorvi getting a bit squeaky and have lost 2 positions to Banotti and Cooley.
Oh, wow, that was let go badly on Tom Hooper, who still hasn't got going again. I'd say that's the end of his race. That engine in his town's dead. Yep, he is out of the race. Oh dear, oh dear. Oh, Mameli. That was Daniele Mamano and Chris Yardley. That was the battle you were just talking about, Nick. That's the Pro-Am Ford. The grinning Ford has now gotten ahead of Daniele for 22nd spot.
So yeah, that was not a great lap for Pontecorvi before, and the corner that they're getting into now, he just lost the rear end a bit. That you don't want to do.
No.
And have lost the P2 to now P4. So. But Bonatti looks to be, really, really fast, even though he had that shunt at the beginning. So the Ferrari's not dead yet. It's a good thing that they placed the engine in the rear and not the front.
Yep. There it is, the 396 Privateer Ferrari on the back of Roma Cudi as they work their way through turns 7 through to 10. Ooh, that's not a good way of taking turn 10, Raphael. And that's how much time you can lose by one simple mistake. Heavy on the brakes. Oh, bit of a lock up there from Roma Cudi. Oh, wow, you could almost reach out and touch the tyres. Raphael was that close to them. But that's the way that I've seen a few drivers take that particular turn. Rick Van Dorn very close to the back of Michael Mariani. That's the Pro-Am lead still raging on behind them. Alex Bennett and Michael Edens rather stuck behind the 2 Fords ahead of them, but not really able to do a lot about it at the moment. Just ahead of them is John Halliwell and Alfie Lawrenson having a fight for 7th position, but a bit of a gap forming between the BMW of Halliwell and the Porsche of Holstein. That's about 2.3 seconds now. What's happened to Jamie Smith? Marvin Sluman's gone past him. That's nothing he's going to worry about. They're not in the same class at the moment. It's now 1.2 seconds separates Talvar and Neumeier.
What happened with Jamie was actually going on the run down to, I believe that's... that's a corner. I forget which number. I think it's turn 4. Yeah, turn 4. He got on the grass dirt on entry and turned in, and the car just lost all grip, had to cut turn 4, and that's how Swimman got past him. But yeah, not in the same class, so he's not really going to have to matter about it too much. One thing to note is that so far what we've kind of seen is the 2, overtaking opportunities, if you can call it really that, have been utilised very effectively. We've seen 2 very late braking manoeuvres into the final corner, which is one of the strategies to get past people here. Try and send it while they're lifting and coasting. and just hope they see you. Sometimes they won't see you, but at this track, unfortunately, you kind of just need to keep watching your mirrors because people will try and send it because it's the only way they can overtake. And the other opportunity really is on the tricky turn 6 if someone gets a bad exit, because as you alluded to earlier, it's very difficult camber through there, and the exit is very important. If the car in front gets a bad run,
Schmidt!
And that's
Alex Schmidt. What's he done? Oh, yeah, slightly too wide on the exit of turn 3, and he's bounced into the wall. I know it's often difficult to tell from the external angle, but is that going to have caused him a lot of damage?
Well, he's already got damage before that. I think that was from the move up the inside in the final corner from one of his rivals, but it will hurt him a little bit. This track, though, is not very straight oriented, and it doesn't actually tend to have that much implications on actual grip. So he should be all right. I would hazard a guess that he can continue, maybe fight his way back. But like I said, it's just so difficult to get past around here that he just needs to kind of get his head down, get a move on, maybe undercut some people, overcut some people. And that was exactly what I was alluding to with Jamie Smith earlier. He did it about a few meters earlier, so instead of cutting across turn 4, he hit the wall between those two sides of the track. Turn 4 separates.
And, you know, the thing is that he just really wants the suspension not to have taken damage. That's really what can, you know, be an issue to drive with.
And you can't tell that from the external whether there's any suspension damage, I assume.
No, not always. It's more like, you know, when you see that the wheel is like in the 45-degree angle when you're going straight, then it's kind of an issue.
Yeah.
That's when you notice it. But yeah, it's irritating when you drive. It's more than that.
Yeah. Saradov and Andres Lutis are close together. That's for third in the Pro-Ams. Right at the bottom of the shot there, you can see that was John Halliwell and Alfie Lawrenson. Still continuing their battle for 7th. Saradov's got some company there. Keeping herself busy, keeping the tail end of the Pro-Am podium. With Michael Edens and Alex Bennett still ahead of her. Pontecorvi and Mamano, you touched on these two earlier, Nick. He's still having a bit of a scrap. Chris Yardley's gone past them. Wow, Chris Yardley's starting to get a bit of a move on. Wow,
which he also should, you know. He's in Pro-Am driver.
True.
He shouldn't really be fighting with those two drivers, but you know, sometimes he tends to take it a bit more, you know, easy and get through the first couple of laps. So once he gets down and really get into his pace, he will easily get away from these drivers. But he has to fight for it.
He will have to fight for it. Oh, now then, Alex Bennett is getting very close to the back of Rick Van Dorn and Michael Mariani. Now that's the Pro-Am lead that's ahead of the Porsche, and that is not a battle Alex is in, nor does he really want to kind of be caught up in either, because the two Fords aren't going to want to just let him dance past. But equally, Alex wants to get on with it. He's broken free of Michael Edens. Oh, right ahead of them, Halliwell and Lawrenson coming down into turn 7. And Halliwell has lost that spot to the Tepper BMW. So that is 7th position to Alfie Lawrenson.
Bennett is looking really feisty. He just tried to sneak it up on the inside of Van Dorn. And now you need to be a bit more, you know, clever with that one, Bennett, if you have to get past.
The Halliwell pass looked, very orchestrated. He kind of just lifted off and let Lawrenson go. And what we also missed was right behind the Bennett Edens Pro drivers, there was Sarah Dubb and Andreas Lutus going through turns 3 and 4. And Sarah got very out of shape through 3 and 3A. And that just allowed Lutus to get a better exit through 3A down towards turn 4 and slip it down the inside.
And now Brumfield's there to make Sarah's day that little bit worse as well. Just trying to demote it into 4th in class. There you go. So this is very much, I think you both alluded to this, it's very much a sort of race by the numbers as opposed to punch and counter punch. Rainer Talvart maintaining that seconds gap between herself and Neumeier, both those two setting their personal best last time around. I think that's actually the
fastest lap of the race last time around.
He did indeed in the Shazoo Ford of 1:25.572. Quite a tenth quicker than Talvart, so certainly keeping pace with the BMW. Andy Gorton is a couple of seconds behind Neumeier now. There he is in respect to the top two. Pinsker in fourth position still, with Nadlik and Holstein in hot pursuit behind them. So the top 6 separated by 6 seconds. And then Lawrenson, there he is. Not quite on his own. He hasn't been able to shake off John Halliwell just yet, but there's that pack of 3. Or what was pack of 3? Rick Van Dorn. I beg your pardon, Alex Bennett has fallen slightly off the back. Oh, that was a lock-up from one of the Fords. Oh, are we going to see a bit of a move from Rick Van Dorn here? No,
well, you would think so, but you can't really overtake through 2,
No.
1, 2, and 3. You kind of have to wait for the later parts of the track, and unless someone makes a mistake through here, then you can start sort of orchestrating a move, try and get better lines, get better runs, set them up for sort of a turn 6, 7 maneuver, and that's kind of your best opportunity if you want to try and play the long game with your moves. If you want to go something more in the short term, then your final corner is your better opportunity. Hope they're lifting and coasting to try and save a bit of fuel and send it through there.
very, very true.
But it is Rick Van Dorn, he will overtake when he wants to.
Also true.
Now I'm gonna send it. So let's see if Mariani, great first race in the Pro-Am field, and giving Van Dorn some challenge. We haven't really seen too much of that this season, which is quite good. But Alex Bennett, we alluded to before, his championship is really hurting by being all the way down to P11 at the moment.
One thing I've noticed is that in that Van Dorn Mariani battle, Van Dorn just looks a bit unsettled in that corner before the final hairpin, but seems to get a much better sort of entry speed into that hairpin. So if he can just get that previous corner hooked up, he could look at sending it into the inside of Mariani and get past through there. And I think that would be his best opportunity to retake the Pro-Am lead. But he could just be thinking about strategy, trying to get him on an overcut or an undercut or something, because that is another option. Obviously, slipstreaming and fuel saving will still be a part, even if there aren't that many straights. And there are many options, it's just that some of them are less obvious around here.
You have to be a bit more creative to make the pass.
As the battle for the AM lead is starting to heat up a bit, Cooley has...
Wow, sorry to cut you off there, Nick. That's Mamano and Pontecorvi still continuing their fight for 4th in the AMs. That was a hell of a... that was a bit of a move from Daniele Mamano, bringing Victor Matios and Miko Pari into the party as well. Not far off the back of them is Karen Benight, so that's quite a scrap developing there for 22nd, including 22nd to 26th. That's going on for a while.
Pontecorvi just left the door open for his teammate, and he slipped it. Well, just stepped right through it. In all fairness,
it wasn't. It didn't look orchestrated though. It didn't look planned. I think there
was definitely some lockups, counter steering, trying not to hit each other. There was no orchestra. If you were going to orchestrate a move, you would not do it there.
You wouldn't do it like that.
Well, you wouldn't do it like that, and you wouldn't say, yes, in the part of the track where we have all the elevation change and lots of blind apexes, yes, let's do the orchestrated pass there, not on the start-finish straight or something.
Philip Schiff has been making steady progress towards the tail end of the field. He's now just 6 seconds as yet more cones die. He should now be able to... Yeah, there you go. He can now see the field he's been chasing. So bearing in mind that he had to do a pit lane start due to a connection problem he had at the beginning of the race, he then spun it at turn 4 on his first lap and left him with a 20 seconds. No! Commentator cursed him on board with Schiff just as the tail started to let go. All that progress is just gone. I'm going to have the assassins come after me from Team Tepper soon for that one. Oh my goodness me. And once again, just one simple mistake, and that has cost him a huge amount of time. Now 13 odd seconds behind Alexis Boucher. I feel for him, I really do. But up front, Tavar has now suddenly doubled his lead between himself and Neumeier.
Neumeier was 4/10 slower last time around, and the lap before that, Neumeier did 25.617, which is sort of is lap 10. Did a 25.9 like he did last lap, and I think Rayner's just capitalised on those two slower lap times, and has just managed to break away. And now Neumeier won't be in the slipstream, so he won't be getting any advantage from the hole that Rayner's punching through the air, and that will probably just cause him to fall away. However, one thing James Penske won't be wanting is for Neumeier to fall into Andy Orton's clutches, because he might be quite content with seeing the top two run away from Andy, because if this was a sort of situation where Gorton was P1 and Penske was P2, Gorton would be gaining 7 points on him in the championship, but as things stand, he's only gaining 3. So I don't think, if Penske doesn't think he can sort of get into that top 2 position, I don't think he'll be too disappointed that he's seeing the top 2 run away from Gorton in front of him.
Another thing that the drivers are, battling now is the elements. If you go into a cockpit on Reina Talva, you will see that the sun is now getting quite low, and it's in turn 2, of course, and in turn 4 that you can't see anything. Blind corner, and then the sun is there. It's just, you don't really want that, and it just irritates and takes a bit of your focus, and you can easily make mistakes with the sun there.
It is a distraction, and it's amazing how much of a difference it makes. Yes, it's only in the sim world, but it has pretty much the same effect. It just it puts you off.
Blind.
Yeah,
you get the same effect, blinding effect straight into the eyes. So and sometimes it just takes a moment to oh, where am I? And suddenly you hit the wall and you just fall down your place.
Yep.
It all depends which of these drivers have lower graphics settings than others. And that's one of the things with this, is that I've seen some POVs and the game looks beautiful on some people's POVs, and it looks like we're racing in the 1990s. And if you are racing in the 1990s, the sun has a much lower effect when it's in this sunset position, because you don't get any glare, you don't get a lot of bloom coming off the sun. There's no real blindness from it. Whereas people that have their graphics settings turned up like I do in the replay right now, I could see it being very frustrating.
Oh yeah, I have as well.
It just peaks round, and then it's half the screen is just filled with sun, and the track then starts also getting lit up, so you can barely even see where the actual corners are. And so, as Talva makes a slight mistake, so they go through turn 2, ran quite wide there, lost a couple of temps. So even the people up front are making slight driving errors. Brain is sliding a lot, and like I said, he was one of the ones that was concerned about his tyre wear, and looking at his back end and how much he's sliding, I'm not surprised.
We have trouble. Stefan Kamke at turn 7 on the exit of the second apex. He's hit the wall. As mentioned earlier, the wall is always waiting to greet you, and he's only just got himself going again. Philip Schiff now is no longer last due to that issue, and that's a reshapen Ford nose, all right.
And it's just one of those spins where you're like, oh, it's sliding, and then you just have it in slow motion.
Yeah.
You're just waiting for it to hit, and you can't do anything about it.
Nothing you can do about it at all. I've been keeping an eye as well on Michael Mariani and Rick Van Dorn. We were looking at the rear camera of Mariani when they were coming up to the last heavy braking zone.
As Van Eyck has been off as well. Sorry, I got you off there.
Oh dear. Let's have a look at what Cohen did. That's turn 4. Oh. Completely missed his braking zone by the look of that. But I reckon Rick Van Dorn is being... that went horribly wrong. That went wrong at the exit of 3A, and then... he kept it out of the wall at least. So a good save there from Cohen Van Eyck. But Rick Van Dorn, a couple of laps ago, coming into that final turn, into that penultimate turn rather, he's biding his time. He's backing off. He's not doing the whole, send it in and hope routine that I thought he might do.
I think he's keeping it close enough that if Mariani makes a mistake, he has the chance to overtake him. And I'm talking sort of just like a sort of slide on traction, not like a spinner. Because sometimes you'll have it where you go, well, I'm not going to overtake him, so I'll just back off a bit. And then they'll have a slide and you go, I could have maybe had an opportunity there. But I think that's what Rick's doing. He's trying to sort of play it calm. But if there is a mistake from the car in front, he will take full advantage of it if he can. And that's sort of I think that's probably one of the smartest ways to play it at the moment. Don't play it too risky, but don't leave yourself out of it.
Yeah, and he's just trying to, always stay, in the mirrors, I'm here.
Yeah.
Hello. And just maybe even looking for the pit stops, if he feels like he has a pace advantage, but not really that he can overtake him on track, then save a bit of fuel and stay close when he pits. Just let it rip and just really go for it.
Because he only needs to either undercut or overcut by 3/10. Well, 4/10, 3/10. That's barely anything. Like a good lap and a bad lap can be that difference. Not to mention fuel strategies and whether you stop for your box and how much you slow down for the pit lane. And he only needs 3/10 from it.
Yeah. Indeed. The AM battle is getting lively as well. Jamie Smith now has the pressure from Raimo Cooley. We've seen how well the cruising missiles BMW has done in the past. So now it's his time to shine. Behind them, Alex Smith and Rafael Bonatti continue their duel, although they're not in the same class. Bonatti in third position in the AM class, in the sole Ferrari of the race. There's lots of potential battles going, but no one is sort of doing the yeet and hope at the moment. But yeah, we'll see. That could change at a moment's notice, though.
Yeah, people are really, it seems like, going for now. We look forward to the pit stops and what's going to happen here, and just that will be a major part of it, because as we've seen it is really a do or die move when you have to overtake, and overtake people when they're standing still is so much nicer.
There is that.
Yeah.
As Rainer Talbot is going to be on the back of Stefan Kamke soon. Rainer still with that pressure from, also with the company of Michael Neumeier. Only 1.5 seconds behind him. That gap hasn't changed a great deal. Neidlich has fallen a little way off the back of James Pinsker, about 1.2 seconds between them. Christoph Holstein, can't quite see him in that shot. He's actually behind the name board. There he is in the Porsche, about a second behind the BMW. But I mean, it looks fairly sedate. It would be easy to assume that they're just out there for a Sunday drive. They're still driving absolutely, or near as damn it, flat out.
Yeah, I've just noticed that James Penske had a cone stuck underneath his car from the penultimate corner of last lap up towards turn 2 of this lap. So.
Oh, is it gone? Oh no, Bonatti! Our Ferrari!
Oh no!
What's he done? That's up at turn 2. Oh, turn 2's claimed another one, and that's what's happened as the car has gone light. That was a good dodge there from, I think it was Victor Matias. Oh no, it's Chris Yardley, beg your pardon. Wow, that was close. As the Bonatti filters back in between Victor Matias and Michael Pari. Oh, what a shame. The sole Ferrari, well, still is the sole Ferrari. He's going to win the Ferrari championship in this race.
Oh yeah, well,
that is true.
I mean, he'll have to work hard to lose the top Ferrari spot.
Oh, definitely. Well, and just when we're mentioning those kind of things, Holstein is at the moment the leader of the non-turbos. In his normal aspirated flat
Porsche.
6 Porsche. Yeah.
Very true. The next one down the road is Alex Bennett, who is in 11th position.
Ooh, as we have a pitter.
It's Alex Schmidt. For Team Tepper, in he comes.
Alex Schmidt undercut.
Yeah.
I think he's utilised a lot in season gone by, but I think with the way his race has gone so far today, it's probably not the worst idea. Try and get yourself out of traffic and overtake them, because he's out of position, and so therefore, by logic, he should be faster than them once he's pitted. Normally, I would say go for the overcut, but that's only when you're sort of fighting people of your own pace, because you'll have a lighter fuel load and be able to get past them on that. I think Schmidt just needs clean air.
That's fair enough. There's that three-way battle. Matias, Bonatti and Pari. There's not really a battle for Victor Matias. He's in the Pro-Am category. It was the two behind him of Rafael Bonatti and Mika Pari are in the AM class. Following that spin from the Ferrari, that's putting him down into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th in the AM class. As you can see, being chased hard by Pari. And Kevin Van Eyck is the next AM down the road. He is quite a way down. Oh, I thought there was trouble then. It's not. It's Alex Bennett coming into the pits. So are we going to see a flurry of stops? A tad early, I'd have thought, for that. But
I think it's a bit early. I was kind of expecting sort of lap 24, 23, 25, around there, from based off what I heard about fuel usage. So that's more what I'd expect. Maybe people just trying to go for those undercuts, try and just get out of traffic, not get held up by people around, not get involved in battles. It's because it is a lot harder when you're trying. If you try and get an overcut on someone, it is very difficult because you have to have saved fuel. Whereas an undercut is something that's very easy to do. You just pull in the pit, and you're immediately out of traffic. However, what Alex Schmidt has slightly forgotten about is the leaders, because he's now got 1.2 seconds behind before Rainer Talvar will be in front of him. So that's not worked out, because he's going to have to let all the leaders go because of the blue flag rule.
oh dear. Unless Alex Smith can pull away from Rainer Talvar, which, mean no disrespect, but that's been no one else has managed to do it so far. But we'll see. He's just hoping that his fellow Tepper BMW gets in the pits. Big flash of the lights from Rainer Talvar.
That is the symbol of I'm not pitting. Please get out.
But of course, Alex really couldn't safely pull over anywhere else other than where he did. I don't think that's going to. Yeah, that wouldn't have cost Rainer any time really. But
I think it's more of a Rainer saying, "Hello, I'm here. Can you just
shift?"
Yeah, at the next opportunity, just so you're aware I'm there.
Nadlik and Holstein are pretty close together now. Nadlik lost a couple of tenths on Holstein last lap around. 2.2 seconds separates himself from Pinsky. He just saw go out of the top of the shot. And what's going on with Kevin Van Eyck? Is anything going on with Kevin Van Eyck? I think. Has he had an incident of some description?
Well, he had that, off track before. That cost
he
him
did. I just
quite a
wonder if
lot.
he did. I just wonder if he had another one, but no, he hasn't at all. He's a bit deep coming through 7, but nothing more major than that. He's got the leaders coming up towards him. He has got the leader right with him now, so this will be an ideal time, I'd have thought, for going to get out of the way. Yep, there he does. Bleeds out of the throttle, and through goes Rainer Talvar. Nodic starting to get back into his rhythm again. Has opened up that gap a little bit. Well, it looks like it between himself and Holstein. Both in the 26.1s. Last time about half a tenth to Nadik's favour. Pinsker and Gorton aren't too far apart. That's about 1.7 seconds.
I was thinking about that. I was like, well, if this was actually a fight for the lead, we would have had a bit of a ding-dong going on between our championship front runners in the pro field. But it's only over the final podium position instead, which means the points on show aren't as great and don't affect it as much. But yeah, they're very much dropping off the back of the front two. Like I said, Rainer's tyre wear is an unknown quantity. Neumeier dropped off a bit at the end of Mid-Ohio. Obviously, we had strategy implications involved in that, and Neumeier somehow managed to make the one-stop work, so that was probably more of the reason. But yeah, I think the battle is close between Pinsker and Gorton, only 1.7 seconds, and Gorton has been one for short filling, so we could see some things going on there. He might go up to the front of the field again.
True. As our lone Ferrari has come in, and Rafael Bonatti chosen now to get his pit stop over and done with. Lawrenson and Halliwell are close together as well. The two BMWs are about 6/10 apart or so. They were when they crossed the line. Is that Philip Schiff being hounded by the leaders? Not yet. No, there's a bit of a gap between them. But
as the Cooley's getting closer and closer to speed, he was almost up there and then just made a small mistake and lost about a second, and then had to wiggle all that time in again. He's getting by 0.3 to Smith's 11.
Matios a bit deep into turn 7. He's lost that spot to Mikko Pari. That's not going to please him. And in comes another one. That's Marvin Sluman has brought the Porsche in. for Hyperion. Leak and Holstein are still continuing their fight. Holstein really getting close to his fellow comrade BMW. Oh!
Who was that?
Smith! It was Alex Smith!
Oh my god.
What's happened there? He's just pulled off. He must have had... No, he's just pulled over. He's just had enough. He's decided to park the car. How peculiar.
Oh, he had that issue early on. I don't know whether because he's seen how many leaders he's going to have to let through and he's realising how much time he's going to need.
Could be. That would be a shame if that's why he's pulled off, but... No, we'll see.
It's one of those ones where it's just because this track is so hard to make up ground, he really needed that strategy to pull off, and I think that's what's happened is that he's kind of put all of his eggs in one basket, and unfortunately the gamble hasn't worked. But our leader has pitted.
Our leader has pitted along with John Halliwell and is that Kamke ahead of him? Yep, Stefan Kamke has gone in. Karen Van Eyck, Alex, as we know, has gone in. Several people coming in now. John Halliwell, Andreas Lutus. There's a bit of an opportunity for Michael Neumeier. Try and if he had anything reserved now to deploy it, how much further is he going to go? As Talvar is back on track. And back on track in traffic. That is the last thing he needed. That's the battle for Pro-Am third ahead of him. Sarah Dove and Stephen Brumfield, who do not have to let him go. That's not blue flag conditions. And again, they're involved in their own fight, so they're not likely to want to let him through. So this could undo itself for Rainer Talvar. And in comes Neumeier. Oh, no, this could be interesting.
Well, Brumfield might just pull off into the pits in front of Talvar. He didn't really get held up, but that could just be a psychological thing, having a car in front of you, or it could be the heavy fuel tank. That is another option because, like I said, I've been going on about Talvar's tyres being in the BMW, which isn't great on its tyres, and he's not been great on his tyres at all this season. I think he had 9% in Mid-Ohio and close to 0% in Road America, so...
Rubber bands!
Yeah, tread very much gone on his tyres. So, heavy fuel, less tyre wear, and Brumfield does pull off into bits. He'll enjoy seeing that. However, Sarah did not. Maybe more displeasing to him, but that's a 1.2 second gap. And Neumeier will be coming out of the pits in front of him or behind him, but around him, and he'll get to see how it's going to turn out.
There goes Sarah.
Ooh, he's coming out there.
He's going to be... Oh, wow, that went much more to Talvar's benefit then. There's...
That's a good in lap, and he hasn't had a good turn too either. He went massively wide there, lost about a second. Talvar, because he just missed the apex. Was clearly not really in the rhythm, and that's the thing. When it's a blind corner and you're not going at normal speed, it's very difficult to judge the apex properly.
Neumeier also took a second more in the pits.
Oh, he did, yes.
Stopping, so he might have put a bit more fuel in. Not much, but just a little bit.
Very true. Good spot. As we are about halfway, so one of them's got it wrong. Oh, is that a trouble for Yardley? Oh no, the grinning Ford! Oh, again, the grass on the outside of turn 3. Bit of a nudge against the wall. That won't do your teeth any good.
There is a Tepper BMW also spun around. I think that's Philip Schiff. Yep, on the grass. In the double right-hander of turn 7.
It was indeed. Good spots. Philip Schiff. Oh, wow. Facing the wrong way with oncoming traffic. Let's see what he did. Looks like Jamie Smith's had an incident as well. And, really awkward spin there for him. What happened to Jamie Smith? I've just seen his speed go down to next to nothing. What's he done? Or has he indeed done anything? Have I been conned by my own numbers? Let's just keep an eye on him. Up towards turn 3. Yeah, he looks alright. Maybe I'd misread the numbers. I thought he was going... Oh no, I was right. He just had a half spin up at turn 4, but he was able to recover from that very, very quickly. Everybody except for Victor Matios and Chris Yardley have been through the pits. Rainer Talvar resumes the lead. Now by 2.7 seconds over Michael Neumeier. Well.
There's been Jamie really... Oh, yeah, go on.
Sorry, there's been a bit of a reshuffle going up at the front. Pinsker has gone from 4th down to 6th. Holstein's gone up from 6th up to 5th, and Nadelic's gone from 5th to 7th. So there's been a bit of a real shuffle around the top 5 area through the pit stop phases.
It has indeed. Andy Gorton in 3rd place, Holstein right behind. Well, I say right behind. There's actually 3.4 seconds between the Ford and the Porsche. So, wow. I didn't expect that big a shake-up, actually, in pit stop phase. Unless my numbers deceive me, but Alexis Boucher has had a really short pit stop compared to everybody else.
Oh yeah, 7.9 seconds. That's
Wow,
right.
that's like 12 seconds slower, quicker rather, than most others around him. As Mariani, oh wow, that was close. Good grief, Alex Bennett determined to make that move. So Mariani's gone deep at turn 7, and then Bennett has just floored it, and Mariani has let him go. Again, wisely done from Michael Mariani, not in the same class, so he's just let Alex Bennett go. That could have gone horribly, horribly wrong. Is Matthias pitting this?
How much Van Dorn has gained through his pit stop strategy. He's got ahead of Lawrenson and is massively ahead of Mariani. About 3-second gaps to the Raptor Racing Ford.
Very true. He's 18 seconds behind Nadelic in 6th position, but that's of no consequence to Rick Van Dorn whatsoever. It just means he has a big old amount of clear road. If we go on the nose cam of Rick Van Dorn, there is no one there. So he can just keep doing, well, essentially quali laps all day. Alfie Lawrenson directly behind, even if he lets the BMW go, which he's not inclined to do. He could do. It won't lose him any positions as far as the Pro-Am Championship is concerned. Michael Mariani, 2nd in that particular club. John Halliwell right on his tail. He might be wise to let the BMW go, as John Halliwell is in the Pro category, but you never, I suppose it's a bit of a pride dent, isn't it, if you have to let somebody go, irrespective of what, how the class system works. You still don't realistically want to let people past you, do you?
No, it's something that really, bogs your mind sometimes, because when you begin to let people go, you then tend to, just let off the gas a bit, and sometimes you can get out of the zone that you're in. So you can really, really lose a lot of concentration as well, and it's just something that you really don't want, and something I have found when doing the GTEs in multi-class events. It really bugs me when you get passed by the rocket ships, even though that it's just a glimpse, but you just the psychological of getting overtaken is just something that you really don't wanna have.
No, and I think it's less of a thing of let them go. It's more of just they don't fight it. So it's more of a place of if they position their car in a place where they're going to make a move on you, you kind of go, is it really worth me holding it around the outside here or something? Because it's actually more likely that you'll lose more time defending than you would if you let them go. But you don't really tend to pull off to the side and lift off the throttle in situations like this.
Oh, Rick Van Dorn! Rick Van Dorn's in trouble. Sorry to cut you off there, James. That's our Pro-Am leader. Oh, he got really squiggly coming through turn 6. Has flown off the road, kind of grazed the wall, and is now down in 11th. Michael Mariani now leads the way in the Pro-Ams.
Well, if you hadn't cut me off, I would have basically retroactively commentator cursed him. Because I was going to say, when you see your rival in your class just in front of you, you don't really want to be letting people go per se. You just want to not fight anybody. And in fact, he didn't have to fight anybody. He just his rival in his category came to him instead.
Indeed, it did. And Michael Mariani has got John Halliwell as a buffer in between himself and the Tepper Ford of Rick Van Dorn. Well,
that's something he would want to have, all the time, because having Halliwell there means that it's not your rival who's going to pass you at any point.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's like you relax a bit more, and just focus on going forward. It's a bit weird. I've had this where it's a Pro-Am guy between me and an AM driver, and it's so weird because he should be faster than I am, but it's just psychologically everything with this.
But this is one of these tracks that, as you both alluded to, passing is very difficult. I mean, look at the amount of marbles or look like so on the outside of turn 6. It looks like an absolute river down there at the moment. But yeah, that is one of the characteristics of this track. If you've got someone that isn't willing to let someone go, as Mamano's had trouble, Daniele Mamano. That's up at turn 2. He's overshot that one by the look. He has tried to go into space. Oh no, we've seen that before. He just got loose on that first apex, and it's so hard to catch it. We know what the grass is like in iRacing at the moment. That's him down into 21st, which is 4th in the AMs.
So he lost P3 as well.
He did. Oh no, Philip Schiff. Has he just disconnected, or has he had a problem?
He left by himself.
He has had a problem. Yeah, so he's... Oh, wow, there he goes. He's gone too deep. Yep, there he goes. Oh, yep, head-butted the wall on the inside of turn 10. Pulls that one off to a safe spot.
And we've lost Schmidt completely.
Yeah, Alex Smith sat in the pits for 10 minutes and opted not to continue. Well, you can't blame him, really. 27 cars remain.
As Alex Bennett is getting quite close to Lawrence now. The gap is, within half a second. So
we've got a few duels forming, I notice. Yeah, exactly that. As you say, Lawrence and Bennett, Pinsker and Nadleek are getting close together. Mariani and Halliwell, though they're not in the same kind of thing, but Rick Van Dorn is right there as well. So there's a few duels or a few battles potentially forming. There is that three-way battle I just mentioned of Mariani, Halliwell and Van Dorn.
That's Cohen Van Eyck. He's had an incident just in front of Lawrence and Bennett, but Bennett is getting very... He's getting... He's trying to get a move.
He's close, isn't he?
If he's getting any closer,
Nipping at the tail of Alfie Lawrence and trying to touch the gearbox of the BMW, touch the diffuser maybe.
Maybe he wants his autograph.
Pick his nose.
Scratch it back.
Yeah, anything you can think of at that point. Oh, pressure then on Mariani, because he's still got those two cars beeping away in his rearview mirror. Pinsker is...
It goes hard beeping at him as well, with the Ford being as annoying as always in the cockpit.
We're not anti-Ford, we just don't like how it sounds.
Well, two of you don't.
Have you driven it since they added the gearbox compressor? It is so bad that it's just a it's like an electrical as if something's like sort of sparking, but it's just the most off-putting thing. Luckily they have now reduced the noise it makes, thankfully. Yeah. But if you want to turn down the engine noise, well, you have to turn down the engine noise to turn it down, so you wouldn't be able to hear the car. And how did they make the car sound worse?
Well, it's again, and I've pointed this, it's still not the worst and most disappointing sound in the GT field. It is that Ferrari. Have you tried to drive that? That's
if I could throw something between here and Denmark, I remember getting irritated with you last time you made that point.
Yeah, and as Bennett is trying to
he is
through Lawrence and down the stride.
Bringing us back to racing talk. Good grief! Can he get it done though? He's going to have the outside for 2, and that's going to give the spot back to the BMW. But the BMW can't get the power down when he needs to. Is Bennett going to be able to then re-attack him? No. A valiant effort from Alex Bennett, and well driven because of no impact between them. Ying that one into turn 4. Can he get that one done? Forces the BMW wide. Surely that is the position of Alex Bennett. Yes, it is. Well driven from both of them, but that's actually allowed that pack of 3 behind them to close in on them a bit. And is Alfie Lawrenson going to have a crack back at the Porsche? Let us see.
But Bennett has really come alive after the pit stops. Really been a bit more of the aggressor now. I think he feels like he has lost a bit too much time being stuck behind the Brown guys. Now
mistake from Morrison as well as they went through the corner, so I don't think he's going to be able to mount a challenge back at Bennett.
And that's going to invite Michael Mariani to close in on him a bit. There's still a second between the BMW and the Ford. And
I think Mariani might be looking more backwards than forward at the moment. With Halliwell being that close.
Well, Halliwell will want to get off after Lawrenson now that gap has come down a bit.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Also, Talvar has lost about half a second in the lap times last time around. So the lead battle is not yet done. There is our lead 2. And as James has mentioned earlier, the tyre wear on the BMW hasn't in the past been notably worse, so that is likely to bite him on the backside as the race draws into the latter half. Pinsker and Nadlik still battling for 5th position. 1.5 seconds down the road is Holstein in 4th. There he is in the Porsche. Andy Gorton is comparatively on his own. There he is in the Ford with...
As Boucher is pitting.
Alexis Boucher is pitting again.
Was he not the one that had very short pit stop on? I think it was somebody else.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, it was. Yeah, well remembered. Yeah, but that wasn't that long ago.
He only filled up 7 seconds worth of fuel, so...
Oh, that wouldn't have been a lot, I suppose. Yeah. Do you think that must have been a mistake? Sure.
It's either that, or he's basically done what everyone's going to do in the final stint, but in his middle stint.
Well, perhaps.
He's just going for a full tank now.
Oh, it's Halliwell's going to yank that one on the penultimate corner. And Mariani's seen him coming, but that's compromised Michael Mariani. If we look on board from Van Dorn. Oh, he managed to get a decent drive from that final turn rate. Van Dorn wasn't able to capitalise on it. But now Mariani's lost his buffer between himself and his next aggressor. As they come up the hill through turn 2. Now Halliwell is going to want to chase off after Alfie Lawrenson, who's lost already 1.3 seconds between himself and Bennett. Wow, that gap is gaining quickly.
Lawrenson is definitely not having a good time of things at the moment. He's just hitting curbs here and there, and as we've talked about before, the BMW is not one that favours the curbs. And every time he hits one, the car sort of doesn't turn, can't get the power down. He's losing time, he's losing position to Bennett, and it just compounds, and then you get more frustrated at yourself, and you just go, it's a simple thing, don't hit the curb, and then you hit more curbs.
So it's a frustration. It's a frustration thing.
I think it is probably slightly that. Unfortunately, Alfie isn't maybe the coolest driver under the helmet, so it very much could be a frustration thing. He's quick on his day, but if things don't go right, they can compound for him. But he's just got to remember he's still in the top 8, high up positions. Things can happen. It's a very difficult track. I mean, there's a massive gap in front of Bennett, so he's not missing out on much by not being in that 7th position.
Yes, 25 seconds near enough between Alex Bennett and Martin Nadlik, as they have caught the back of Rafael Bonatti,
whom is not really playing, the team game here. He should have moved out of the way quite a while ago, and
James
is getting angry now.
Yeah, James not happy about that, and he's still not getting out of the. Now he's gotten out of the way. He needs to brake. He needs to brake much harder than that. Ooh, I could just see that getting horribly tangled coming into turn 7, but thankfully he did hit the brakes a bit hard, hard enough to let both of them through.
I'm sorry, but that was just really bad driving by our Ferrari driver. That was almost a full lap with blue flags, not letting these two drivers pass, and
I think
you can just see the steam from Penske.
Yeah, I think what would have annoyed James there was that he was only half a second really behind Benassi coming out of the final corner, and you've got a start finish straight there that you can just let them go, but instead he just held them up.
Frank Dish and chat saying, would you please stop hitting that poor orange cone? Oh, and speaking of our Ferrari, I just saw him sliding off the camera. Rafael Bonatti's binned it at turn 2. That's dropped.
He's probably thinking karma.
Well, I don't think he's got much of a chance to think that, because Martin Nadlik is right on his exhaust pipe.
And that can't be good for the tyres as well.
Especially with the BMW being a bit of a tyre muncher.
But for Bonatti, he just locked all 4 wheels trying to save his car.
that won't
and
be
it's
nice.
a Ferrari, which is the worst car in its tyres.
They wanted extra challenge.
But also, what I've been seeing the last couple of laps is actually, James Smith getting, a bit of a gap to Cooley. It was actually up on 4.5 seconds. because the interesting here is that Smith, pitted and took 3.5 seconds less fuel than Cooley. So, he should be lighter and really he need that gap and a bit more speed. So it was looking good, but now I can see it down to 3 seconds. So Jamie Smith needs to pile on the pressure, otherwise he will lose that P1 in the M class. Ooh, as he's getting a bit wide and squealy. Don't go onto the marbles.
Oh, someone's behind him's binned it. Oh no, he binned it. Oh no. Yeah, so that's him going wide onto the marbles down through turn 6. I think someone behind him did also bin it. Yep, it was Chris Yardley. I thought I heard someone losing traction with their tyres. So 2 people at the same time having their own incidents. But look at the lead battle. Talva and Neumeier now just 4/10 apart.
Neumeier's definitely kept his tyres better than Talva. Got much more grip now as we're coming into, well, we're well past
no! Pontecorvi! Alessandro Pontecorvi, the Raptor BMW. Oh, he spun round. I think that was it Kamke that headbutted that bit of wall? Somebody did.
Yeah, that was definitely Kamke.
Oh no, Alessandro has fallen to the same. Well, the front of the car looks fairly in the same shape, but now Talva, I think Talva's been very unlucky with the traffic as well leading to this point. Mariani's still got Rick Van Dorn crawling all over his diffuser, but still leads the way in the Pro-Ams. Raimo Cooley now ahead of Jamie Smith due to that the spin that Jamie had last time around, but Jamie's still right there challenging for the AM win.
Just as we start talking about tyre wear, we see everyone starting to make mistakes. Which is what you expect. We're on lap 37 out of a possible either 55 or 56. We're not really sure. It could be close either way. So yeah, we've got 25 minutes of racing to go, so that means we've already done pretty much an hour now, so the tyres are really starting to hurt.
Yeah.
If anyone's done practice races, we will have been doing them in the IMSA Sports Car Championship, which is only a 45-minute race. So these tyres are already 10 minutes older than they will have driven at all this week. And they've got to go another 25.
Big problem! Alfie Lawrenson! Alfie Lawrenson has had an issue up at turn 2, and someone's had an issue with him.
That's Chris Yardley, isn't it?
Oh, it is. Yes, well spotted. So that's the tail end of the BMW just completely letting go. Oh, Yardley had already had his trouble. I think. Oh, Yardley's completely missed the breaking point. But you think is that all tyre wear related?
I think that's very tyre related because Alfie's just looked to turn in there, and I think the car just hasn't done what it's normally done because it's just got less grip than normal, and the rear has given up and has said, I can't cope with that much speed through there, and has sent him off to the barrier.
This is fantastic. We've got some awesome battles going on up front for the overall win. Talva versus Neumeier, BMW versus Ford, Tepper versus Shazoo, as Pontecorvi has brought his car into the pits again following his incident with the wall.
Talva's rear is fighting everywhere. It's all over the shop.
And obviously Neumeier will be watching that with some satisfaction, won't he? Because he'll see how much the BMW is dancing around all over the place.
Yeah, he'll be thinking he'll be getting bad exits. He'll be trying to position his car in a way that he can maybe take full advantage, but going over a lot of the crests and stuff at the start of the lap, Talva's car does not seem to stick at the rear. More of the flat surfaces, it seems to be fine, but those corners like turn 2, 3, 4, they're sort of the regions where his BMW is just not quite planted. And I think also through this S section that he's about to come through, yeah, the rear is just getting a bit loose. Just not got the grip that he had at the start of the race to pull away, and now he's got a Ford all over his rear end.
Just what he wants.
Into the final. The drivers that's also, fighting at the moment is, you talked about the tire wear, driving more than they had before. The light as well. It's getting darker and darker, and they most likely wouldn't have been able to
go down the start-finish straight.
Yeah. But also, the temperature, it might be, falling a degree or two, and they might not have trained in these conditions. So, and that's the thing with this league. You can practice, and you can really learn the track and plan a strategy, but you can't really practice it. So
true.
The unknown.
Very much the unknown.
That is the beauty of this different race format that we have, because you don't get it anywhere else.
No.
Also true. Also very, very true. So have a quick check-in with our class leaders then. With 22.5 minutes remaining of this race, it is not done by any stretch of the imagination. Talvar leads Neumeier for the pro win. Andy Gorton rounds out the podium about 5 seconds or so behind this battle. Pro-Ams, Michael Majorani with Rick Van Dorn in very hot pursuit. Michael Edens is in the pro category behind them, rather, so he's not going to feature in this. Andres Lutis is next down the road. He is about 5 seconds behind this battle, and the AM lead currently in the hands of Raimo Cooley, 1.2 seconds ahead of Jamie Smith.
That is a swap since last we saw them. That has been a change for lead. Smith were ahead before.
Well, we saw Smith have that moment, didn't we, down at turn 6 a few laps ago, and Cooley went past him at that point.
That's true.
But Jamie doing what he can to try and keep pace with Raimo Cooley, but I think, as James was explaining, the tyres are just not very happy anymore. Are we going to see many people... is everyone going to come in for a second stop?
We should... I would expect second stops, I don't... Well, because people went 24 laps really at the most last time around. That gives you an extra 7 laps that you'd have to do on this stint compared to what you did in the first. And I'm no strategist, but I don't think that 7 laps is something that is easy to do differently.
When you've got rubber bands for tyres.
No, I don't think there's any way you can stretch the fuel 7 laps longer than they did in the first stint, so they should all come in.
Yeah.
I don't know whether they'll take tyres, because it is still like an 18-second time lock. If you didn't take tyres in the first stint, then you haven't got much time to make that 18 seconds back up.
No, indeed. Sluman has just come in, as we've been talking about pit stops. He is the Hyperion Porsche. Will roll to his position. John Halliwell's still got the Pro-Am pair behind him, Mariani and Van Dorn. So John Halliwell's not been able to really mount any offensive whatsoever against Alex Bennett, as I thought he may have done. But still some time left in the race. I saw a Porsche with a very heavily dented rear wing, and that's Marvin Sliman coming out of the pits.
Van Eyck is having, different aerodynamics.
That's the Porsche I was thinking. He's had a bit of a reshape of the rear wing. Can't see it from that camera. Can't see it particularly from that one either. But that's a different idea on rear aerodynamics. But oh well, good on him to give it a go, I suppose.
He hasn't really had, a great last couple of races. It has really been going down from him. He was one of my championship favorites for the AM class, and he's just... I think he had
Oh, Mamano, sorry.
One or two. Yeah, he's gone off the track.
Oh, wow, as he's tried to catch it at turn 6. He's got... I don't think he's hit anything. He's just gone up the... Yeah, he's just gone up the... Oh, he's beached it. That's really unfortunate. But he's managed to get back on track and go in again.
That can really hurt the floor of the car.
Oh, that's close. Neumeier to Talvar. Very, very close indeed. And with Cohen Van Eyck. Yeah, Cohen spotted them. Nicely done. Oh, what's Neumeier going to do here? So close he can tell what colour underpants Rainer Talvar's wearing at this point. Of course, he's not going to try anything there, but he's really sizing himself up for a move into that turn 4.
He's definitely got a better run through 3 and 3A. He's looking for the move into turn 4. You're not going to be able to send it from that far back into there. But he's got such a better run through 4 anyway.
Oh, big incident. Yardley and Lawrenson again. They were side by side coming through turn 6. The Ford's gone ahead and the BMW's just ploughed into the side of the Ford. And then punched him in the face as he's tried to recover. Oh dear. Bit of an issue there between Lawrenson and Yardley. Yardley's a lap down from Lawrenson, so a little bit awkward there between those two.
Oh, Neumeier has made a mistake as we cut away from there. They were at 2 tenths behind, but as they went through 6 and 7, just got away from him, and is now the gap is back up to over half a second. And Neumeier pit.
Neumeier has pitted. He clearly didn't like the colour of Rainer Talvar's underpants, so he decided to bring the car in.
I don't think he liked the colours of the cars on his relative. I think he saw a lot of blue, a lot of blue drivers, meaning lap drivers, and he's thinking, if I just get out of this now, there shouldn't be many lapped cars for me, and hopefully I might be able to get out in clean air and not have to worry about them. Because, as we've seen, if you get up to someone coming into turn 2, then there's no real place for them to let you by.
Holstein's in as well.
Yeah, and he's also on his spaceship Ford, turning on his alien lights on the side. It's just, that's amazing, that car.
Oh, the side lighting on the Ford.
The side lights are just, it's really, really good. And that was a short stop. Holstein is in there for quite a while. I think Holstein has gone for new tires, maybe. 16 seconds. No, that may be too short for that. But why am I only 6?
Holstein's spun it in turn 2.
Oh, yeah, he has.
And he's hit Mariani.
No, there's Michael Mariani. What a shame. You could see on board with the Ford. Can't believe I haven't used that one before now. He just had nowhere to go. Absolutely nowhere to go. Slammed into the side of Holstein, and Holstein's out. Holstein has retired the car. And he's just pulled over. Yeah, the damage clearly too extreme on the Porsche, as Rainer Talvar has now brought his car into the pits. Oh, what a shame for Mariani. He's been leading the Pro-Am field for so long, and that was it was a moderate whack on the front right of the Ford. That's going to make it very difficult for him to chase after Rick Van Dorn, he's now a couple of seconds up the road, about 2.5 seconds up the road from where he is. But now
as Talvar actually hit the wall going into the pits.
Oh dear.
Yeah, he's now got a bit of damage to the left rear of his car, visibly.
Neumeier has passed.
Neumeier's through.
Neumeier is through.
Oh dear.
He's still in the pits. This is causing him a lot of time.
Yeah, he's still stationary. He still hasn't moved. That is a colossal pit stop from Talvar. What has gone on there? He's
maybe when he hit the wall, he's actually managed to bonk his suspension, and therefore he has required repairs, so he can't go anywhere. And if he does, then that is 13 minutes, I think, that he'd have to sit there.
Ouch.
If he has no options, so that is race over, basically.
That is race over, yeah, because we only have 15 minutes left of the race. And yeah, he's still there, still stationary. That's a minute now he's been on his pit box for. Well, Michael Neumeier and has played it blindly well then. Oh, Alfie Lawrenson, what on earth have you done there?
I don't think Alfie's having a good time of things.
Oh, he's hit the wall. I wonder, did he think that gap there was how you got out of the pits?
I don't know. Has he? He hasn't even hit his box yet, so I don't think that's what it is. I think he might have just been looking somewhere else while he was driving through the pit lane and wasn't really paying attention. Yeah, no, I don't know what has happened there. He's turned left to go around the corner, and then he's just braked, and
that's a little bit. Oh, Lewis Hamilton hit the back of Kimi Räikkönen at. I want to say, was it Canada?
It was Canada, 2008. Yes.
Why do you remember these things? I'm a Hamilton fan. I don't remember that. I remember the incident, but not when and where.
I've watched many Grand Prix.
So have I, but I can't. I have a bad memory.
I mean, more recently rewatching them.
I see.
I was very young when that actually happened. So.
Sometimes I can be encyclopedia on Formula 1 like that as well. Just been seeing, remembering China 2004, with Kimi and Barrichello just battling for, the whole race. And then just Kimi losing P2 at the end of the last stop.
Let's have a quick recap then on who's where as Andy Gorton brings his car in from the lead. James Pinsker, for the time being, will take over the lead. Martin Nadlik has chosen to continue as well in the BMW. The lead will come back over to this man, the Shazoo Ford of Michael Neumeier, as he's got. Who's that ahead? Is it Ryan McCurdy? No, not sure who that is. Ahead of him, that's Pinsker, and I don't know who that is following him. That's
Lawrence is following him.
Oh, Andy Gorton has hit his pit box. Wow, that was quick. That was.
This will actually be, Neuma's first win.
Oh,
of the
and
season.
Lawson has just spun it. I don't know.
Oh no! What is going on with that? Where is he? Where is? I can't find him. Oh, there he is. What
It's
is?
just gone from bad to worse.
Yeah, he's just lost the rear end actually as they go through 5, which isn't really a place that you'd normally think about. He's actually just lost the rear end and then just counter-steered and given up, I think.
Yeah, he just yinged that one backwards into the wall.
He didn't even actually throw it into the wall. The car did it for him, but it just doesn't look like that because it was only a small slide, but the counter-steerers just sent him off. But he's still continuing.
He is.
In all fairness.
As Andreas Lutis has come through the pits. We have 24 cars still running. As Talvar still hasn't moved from his pit box. Obviously neither has Holstein following his incident. Pinsker still leading the way. Pinsker still hasn't come in. But we've seen sort of 24 lap stints. So he'll be in the next couple of laps. Who leads our Pro-Ams? Rick Van Dorn still leads the Pro-Ams. In fairness, despite that big impact that Mariani had on Holstein earlier, he hasn't fallen too far off the back.
He was only 0.3 slower last lap than his Pro-Am compatriot of Rick Van Dorn. Eden's in the middle of the map a little bit faster, but yeah, no, he's keeping good pace with the. Well, I mean, like I said, that's really not going to be too much of a factor at this track because it is basically just bodywork damage, and that tends to affect your straight line speed more than anything. And as we've alluded to, there aren't many straights here, so
no, and the straights.
At a time, it might be a couple of tenths, but it's in the grand scheme of things, it's not too much to be worrying about. And honestly, I think it'll still be in good stead to fight people, and whatever happens should really hopefully happen just on pace, not because of the damage.
And leading our AMs is still Raimo Cooley,
who is, looking for a pit stop in the next couple of laps, as he's actually going into the pit.
Perfect timing there, Mr. D. Yep,
Yes.
in he comes.
And Smith has pitted, so this is really, interesting pit stop. Is he gonna keep that position, or will Smith regain the AM lead?
Where is Jamie Smith? There he is. Oops, as Raimo Cooley went too far and had to reverse into his pit stall. Pinsker and Nadleek have pitted. And there they both are.
Cooley's driving out slowly.
This pit lane feels like it goes on forever.
It's really long.
It's really long,
Really,
especially considering
really.
how short the track actually is.
Yeah.
And then it has the sketchiest pit exit, probably, that you will have seen in a long time. It rejoins right onto the racing line at about half the speed.
Oh, wow. Just, who's I looking at there?
Come out in front of Andy Gorton.
And Nadleek is flashing his lights angrily at someone that's right ahead of him.
That is Cooley. That's Cooley. He is.
Oh, Raimo Cooley.
Come out of the pits.
Yeah, and
And,
he was very reluctant to let that one go. But yeah, as you just said there, James, Mr. Pinsker and Mr. Gorton are having a fight for second. A very hot fight for second. Tepper versus Tag Racing. Both of them in Fords. Oh, Andy Gorton really wanted to get on with it, and that's one of the Tepper BMWs just getting right out of the way.
That was after
Lawrence.
Ooh, jumps right in front of Nadleek. He won't be happy about that. But Pinsker and Gorton right on top of one another. Neumeier is nearly 10 seconds down the road. He's off and away. Rainier Talvar has disconnected. Is that Marvin Sleeman getting out of the way? Yep, it was indeed. Oh, right in front of Cooley.
Gorton got a better exit out of that final hairpin, but you think he's going to be a little bit too far back to take full effect of this slipstream. James Penske not using the full racing line, did have a little bit of a defence to the inside, so he's clearly thinking about Gorton. Gorton's very much in his mind, probably will be pressuring him into mistakes then, as he'll be thinking about the car behind more than the car in front, and the road in front, and that's what's really important at a track like this. You don't want to have your eyes taken off the road, because any small lapse in judgment could mean a mistake, and Penske goes a bit wide. As I say that, through turn 4, gets onto the dirt, and Gorton's going to have a run through turn 5. He's going to have to send it around the outside of turn 6, and that's going to be very difficult, and Penske's going to keep the inside line.
I was trying to find Gorton then as I went to the tail camera of Penske and completely missed him. As Michael Edens comes out of the pits. Yep, that's the sketchy pit lane exit that James was talking about. Is once again Edens right behind Alex Bennett. But this battle for second is going to go to the line. We have got just over 7 minutes remaining of this race before the checkered flag falls. At the moment, it is waiting to green Michael Neumeier, but it's the battle for second in the pros that is going to be the hot topic at the moment. Penske ahead of Gorton. Gorton thinks about the inside Ying into that final turn. Oh, but was that enough to put Penske off? Yeah, Penske was too deep into that. I think he was focusing too much on Gorton. He's going to have the inside line for the next couple of turns. Can he fend off Gorton? Just about. Well defended by James Penske.
But Pence's just making so many mistakes at the moment. That's 2 in 1 lap that have allowed Gorton to get the sniff of that second position. And he's got to be thinking about the vulnerabilities that Penske has already shown him as they've been battling. He'll be thinking about turn 4, about that final, that penultimate corner onto the start-finish straight. And he can just see how close he's getting to James. James has had fairly good tyre wear throughout the GTE League. I mean, in other games, I've known him not to have great tyre wear, but on iRacing, he's never really struggled. So I'm slightly miffed as to why he's so slow at the moment. Him and Andy have been fairly similar pace all season, and even today, their lap times haven't been too different. Gorton locks up as they go through turn 7, and he's so close to the back of Penske.
Nadling's right there as well, so that's 2, 3 and 4 all in real short succession, having that fight for second position overall. Alex Bennett is ahead of Rick Van Dorn barely, but they're not in the same class. Alex Bennett in the pros. Rick Van Dorn, our Pro-Am leader, leads Michael Mariani now by 3.5 seconds-ish, but Michael Mariani has got Sarah Dove for company, as that's one of the Raptor BMWs trying to stay out of the way. Pontecorvi? Yep, Alessandro Pontecorvi. But I cannot keep my eyes away from this battle for second for too long, as we have 5 minutes to go. Gorton!
Nadler's getting very feisty. He's seeing the opportunity, just trying to send it through turn 2, and actually bumps Gorton as they go through 3 and 3B. Gorton got very offline through turns 2 and got a very bad exit. But just no way through for Nadler as they go up the hill there.
It's like everything has just gone. Ooh, what happened?
Oh, I thought there was a problem for Pontecorvi there, but it was just him coming into the pits. But that's given Penske a big old amount of breathing space, look. That's 0.8 of a second, no, 8.5 of a second between Penske and Andy Gorton. And Andy with his mirrors full of Comrade BMW. Comrade, we may well yet have CRG on the podium.
But the battle for the AM lead is really heating up as well, and Cooley and Smith, the gap has been 0.2 of a second into that last corner. So you need to look everywhere. We need more screens. We need more screens, guys. Why do you have to do this every single time at the exactly same time?
Oh, that was Jamie Smith nearly hitting the wall. That was such a clenching moment. Look at that. Oh, that was so close for Jamie Smith, but does manage to keep it off the walls. He must have clenched. I don't care who you are. He must have clenched going through those turns. 3.5 minutes to go. We have got about 3-ish laps to go before the checkered flag will fall. Michael Neumeier leads by over 10 seconds now to Penske. This three-way pack now spreading out a little bit. 0.7 of a second between Penske and Gorton. And about the same again between Gorton and Nadler. But that doesn't count for anything. That can close back up very, very quickly indeed. The Pro-Am lead currently in the form of Rick Van Dorn. Second is Michael Mariani, who has got Sarah Dove right on his case. So Mariani going to have to really fight hard to maintain that second position. The AM lead is equally as hotly contested as that's who's the Porsche? Is it Sluman? It is Marvin Sluman. Oh,
getting in the way at the moment.
He is, unfortunately. Ryan Mukuli probably wanted to try and get past, but Marvin doesn't have to let them go. He's in a higher category with the being in the Pro-Ams, so that's going to be a little bit awkward for Cooley. We'll see how that transpires as we head into the final 2.5 minutes. Oh, that's close between Cooley and Sluman. What's Jamie Smith is closed right back in, capitalising on the fact that his arch nemesis Raimo Cooley is stuck essentially behind the Porsche, but the Porsche doesn't have to let him go. Oh, this is going to be a fascinating fight to the flag.
Oh my goodness, this is gonna go horribly wrong at some point. Oh my goodness, is he gonna look? Is James Smith looking? No, he's thinking about it. Just you want to pounce on at the real right time. Don't make any stupid mistakes. Stay as close and really push, because Cooley, as we have seen, he want to get past Marvin, and that's the thing. That's the time where Jamie has to strike. Oh, he's getting really, really, really close.
Oh, yeah, he is. Oh, he's gone for it, but he's going to be on the outside line. Can he commit to it? No, he's going to tuck back behind.
But he's going to go for this.
Yeah, wheel spin coming out of there. He was going to get the switch back, and going through the S section, he might have been able to close up and make a move into 11B, that penultimate corner. The hairpin up front in the battle for second. It's now about a second between Pinsker and Gorton, and then about the same back to Nadley. Sort of ebbs and flows as they go through different corners, but they've kind of spaced out now after that move from Nadley, and they're just... I think
Sluman got really squiggly on the exit of the final turn, or the exit of the penultimate turn rather, but didn't really lose any momentum there. Oh, Jamie Smith again, still so close.
Oh, Cooley a bit out of shape, breaking up turn 2. I don't know if he was trying to defend there, but you shouldn't really be defending into turn 2. No one should be sending it there. You need to try and get a better run more than anything, and that's allowed Jamie to get a better run. He gets such a snap of oversteer coming out of turn 4.
I think he was avoiding hitting Cooley. I think he had to get off the gas or get on brakes, which unsettled the car. But here he comes again. Oh, I did wonder if I thought he was going to ying that one on the inside of 6, as you say, but he opted not to. He's signing up for 7 in the tire tracks of him. And again, well defended by Raimo Cooley. Michael Mariani still got Sarah Dove for company. They're not far off that particular bit of track. The checkered flag is out. It is awaiting this man. The 2 Raptor BMWs ahead of him are, well, they're not oblivious to it, but your winner here at Sonoma is Michael Neumeier for Team Chizu in the Ford. Nicely done. Pinsker.
Oh, Smith has got a run. Oh, that's a closed door. That's a closed door.
Oh, he's got him! Oh, whilst we looked away, and Michael Mariani and Sarah Dover side by side as well. There's battles going on absolutely everywhere. Pinsker's come home second, Gorton third for the AM 1, 2, 3. Rank Van Dorn. The Pro-Ams are not actually close to the line yet, but the AM win does indeed go to Jamie Smith due to that last corner, penultimate corner move.
Oh, I've also got a massive run going into the final corner. She's going to go around the outside. A long way around.
A big move, but
she's locked up as you're going around, and I don't think she's going to be able to take that second position off of Michael Mariani. However, Sarah will now inherit second position in the Pro-Am Championship, but she will lose ground to Rick Van Dorn.
Indeed, so Rick Van Dorn took the Pro-Am win. Michael Mariani, brilliant defensive work into that penultimate turn for Sarah Dove onto the marbles. So third is to her. Goodness me. Stephen Broomfield is the last car on the lead lap, I think, to come over the line. Although someone's chasing him home. Goodness
For some
me.
reason, everyone got so good runs going into that final corner where it was just like, okay, now there's going to be you're going to get one attempt at it, and it's on the last corner of the last lap. Who will be braver? And in both situations, we got different results. In one of them, the car behind managed to make the move, and one of them they had to sort of just concede and stick with the position they were in before. I'm just watching it back. That's why I kind of tailed off there, because I was just, good driving from everyone there, as well as the battle for second that we saw and all the battles that were going on. Although we didn't expect much overtaking, there was still respectful driving in a lot of situations here.
Very true. Very true. So, the results as they stand without any stewards' intervention: Michael Neumeier taking the win, Pinsker 2, Andy Gordon 3, Martin Nedlick 4, John Halliwell 5, Alex Bennett 6, Rick Van Dorn taking the Pro-Am win in 7th position, Michael Edens 8, Michael Mariani in 9, Saradav 10, then it is Lutus, Broomfield, Sluman, Jamie Smith taking that AM win in the last dying seconds of the race from Romo Cooley, and then Pari, Matias, Boucher, Pontecorvi, Mamano, Bernardi, Lawrenson, Kamke, Van Eyck. Those that didn't see the flag were Talvar, Holstein, Yardley, Schiff, Schmidt and Hooper. Wow. Let it not be said that a smaller grid gives you less action. Good grief. That was incredible. There was a period of time in the middle where it became a management type exercise, which, let's face it, we knew that was going to happen. It was inevitable that was going to happen at a track like this, but wow, did we have a lot to scream about.
Well, it's, it always comes back to us at the end. These drivers, they need to just get to the end and survive, and then they can really, really push forward. But yeah, it's, for us, we would like them to just, split it up throughout the race instead of, having to follow 4 battles at the same time, guys. Stop doing that.
Well, the first man that's made himself available is the one that we were shouting about the most in those closing stages as our AM winner. Let's have a chat with Jamie Smith.
Good evening.
Well, my goodness me. Did you give us a lot of work? Well, a lot of battles were going on, but dear Lord, yours went well for you. You must be very pleased with that.
I am still in shock because I was so hunting him in last.
We lost you a little bit there, Jamie. You still with us?
Yeah.
Oh, you're still there. Good stuff.
Yeah, no, it was very tough. I made a couple of small mistakes all during that race, and I thought Cooley had it right at the end. I think he just overshot the brakes, and I managed to take advantage.
Well, I think it's fair to say that you made him work for it. You forced him onto the dirty line in that penultimate turn. I mean, did you? Was there any point in the race where you thought, "Nah, there's no way I can get towards the top," or were you just constantly thinking, "Yeah, that win's in my grasp"? What was going through your mind?
The start, I thought I had I had about 6 or 7, so I knew I could take it easy. But I wasn't really thinking about the race. I was thinking, just keep it steady, because this track, you make one small mistake and you could be off.
Very true, as we saw repeatedly. But excellent work, well done on the class win. Good to see you at the back of the top of the tree once again. Any questions, Mr. Clay, Mr. Domino?
Go on. Oh. Yeah, I was just asking, if you had a spare set of underpants, as we saw you going quite wide and really, really close to the wall. Did you think that would have been, race over right there?
To be honest, I've done that a lot in practicing all week, so I kind of knew I could keep my foot on.
Wow. I genuinely thought it was going to be, a brown trouser moment, squeaky bum time going through that turn, but well handled.
It was, but I wanted to keep pushing to try and go for that win.
Wow, did it pay off? Any questions from you, James?
No, I think it's probably best if I let you cool down after that one. It was. I think we need a cool down as well, but great racing and great job putting on a show.
You're not wrong there. Thank you very much, Jamie Smith. Right then, Mr. Clay, who should we have next?
Shall we have our title contender, Mr. Pinsker?
That's a good call. Let's call into the box from Team Tepper. It is James Pinsker.
Hello.
Well, a decent podium there for you, sir, but you had to work for that, I think it's fair to say.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. this track is properly challenging, and it's really hard on the tyres as well. Obviously, my teammate went out and Chris went out at very similar times, so I found myself in, and also Andy went off the track, so there was a lot of carnage like going on. I came out of the pits in second somehow, but my tyres at that point just fell off, so I was really like ragging the car about, trying to hold on to that place. So yeah, it was a really hard fought result, I guess, but very happy to take P2 here.
I can imagine. What did you think was realistically on the cards, knowing who you were up against at the beginning of the night?
I mean, 6th, really. That's really what I thought my pace was. Obviously, I got up to 4th near the start. And then I had a decent pace versus Chris and Martin, and Andy as well. But then, obviously, Rayner and essentially a lot of people fell off the road, and that kind of came in my favour. So, yeah. I mean, P2 is a lot better than I was expecting, and I'll definitely take that.
Nicely done. Well deserved. Good job there. Any questions from you two gents?
Obviously, going into this race, you were quite a way in front of the championship. You have just extended your lead a little bit. What are your thoughts going into the next couple of rounds, considering the Ford is a little bit slower than it has been in the recent races? Obviously, Gorton himself is still in the Ford, but do you see there could be challenges from other people that could halt your championship challenge, or are you fairly confident with how things are going?
I mean, I think the less competitive the Ford is actually good news, because Andy needs to be winning the races now, I guess. He's like 27 points behind or something like that. So, I mean, the more people in that fight that can stop him from claiming like a 25 for winning would be great. But obviously in the next few races, the Ford is not going to be as competitive as it has been today. So we're going to have a lot of interesting fights of having a lot of people like Martin, Michael, Rayner, and Alex as well in the fight. So there's definitely a lot to look forward to in the next few races for you guys.
Awesome stuff. Well, excellent effort. Well done on the podium finish, and good luck for the remainder of the season. Thank you very much, James Pinsker.
Thanks, Matt.
Nick, who should we have next?
Well, let's have a talk with Sarah, as she had a great race.
Yeah, we've had a representative from AMS, we've had a representative from Pros. Let's speak to a podium from the Pro-Ams. Let's have a chat with Sarah Dove.
Hello.
Hello, Sarah. Once again, we find you having a lot of work to do. Sadly, that last corner effort didn't quite go your way, but wow, did you... you were just constantly where the action was.
Yeah, I kind of had a not good first stint and lost like, I don't know, 9-10 seconds to Rick and Mariani, but then in the second stint I just kind of did better than them and caught back up, I guess.
Was there a target in mind? Did you think, were you aiming for podium? Were you aiming for the win? What was on your mind coming into this race?
Well, I was hoping to get a podium. I would have liked to get the win. When, like, during practice, I kind of saw that Rick was too fast. So, I mean, a podium I'm happy with, because the way my season's kind of been a bit up and down, so 2 podiums in a row is good.
Definitely on the upward trend, and long may it continue. Excellent stuff, Sarah. Any questions, gentlemen?
Not from me.
Well, Sarah, now we are looking ahead to the next round. How is Silverstone treating you? Do you feel in the Ford and with the updates?
I'm optimistic about it. I was pretty good at Silverstone in the past seasons, so hopefully it'll go well for me.
So 6 seconds ahead of the pros then. Excellent, you heard it here first.
Yeah, I win by 3 laps.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Excellent stuff. Congratulations on another podium, and good luck for the season moving forward. Thank you very much. Sarah Dove.
Thank you.
And we do have Mr. Kamke in the wings waiting for us, so let's have a chat with Stefan Kamke. Hello, Stefan. I disconnected for a brief second there.
Hello, how are you guys doing?
Guten Tag, mein Freund. Well, how was that one for you?
Very good. I only killed myself once.
Progress, I suppose. You weren't too happy last week, if I recall. You described your performance in a word that I can't use in professional broadcast. Happier with today, or just happier through less deaths?
Baby steps. I was a lot more consistent. I didn't do as many mistakes. I think I actually only did one that mattered, and that put me in the wall. Pace was not so good, but that was expected. It's not really my track. And then I made a last lap pass on Van Eyck, so I'm happy about that.
Excellent stuff. Any questions, gentlemen?
What are your opinions going to Silverstone? Is it a track that you're looking forward to? Obviously, we've been to a couple of more quirky tracks that people aren't familiar to, and we'll be back on more of the mainstream calendar. Is that better for you? Do you prefer tracks like this? What are your thoughts?
I've never been a fan of Silverstone, so in VR especially, it sometimes feels like you need GPS because it's so wide you can barely see the edges. But I think the Ford will be okay there. I probably won't.
Keeping it real. You can't blame me for that. But good luck nonetheless, and we look forward to chatting to you again. Thank you very much, Stefan Kamke.
Thank you.
And that is going to be it for this evening. Thank you very much to those that have been with us throughout the stream. A great pleasure to have you on board. Thank you very much, James Clay and Nick Domino, for keeping me on the straight and narrow. It's a difficult job. You bear it well. You don't have very many races left to do it, and then you are free to carry on as you please. But thank you very much for joining me in the commentary box, gents. A great pleasure all the same.
Always a pleasure, and it will be missed when the time does come.
Very kind.
Definitely, it's gonna be weird, mate.
So
we are definitely looking forward to the next 3 amazing races.
Yes, Silverstone next time up. Love commentating on Silverstone. I would say that I'm a Brit, but I love Silverstone. I make no bones about that. It's going to be an amazing race. But there's plenty of other racing going on in between then and now, so do check back with us then. Until then, thank you very much, and good night!